Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, with help from this girl called Isabelle Rogers. Part 1.
Guy Montag adores the smell of kerosene, the sensation of burning things. He's one of many firemen, a man whose job it is to burn books, any and every book. Today, like every day, he hangs up his beetle-colored helmet, his flame-proof jacket. Today, like every day, he slides down the pole, rides the subway, rides the escalator, walks home. But recently, he's been feeling a peculiar, uncertain feeling about the sidewalk near his house, like someone had just been there. But recently, he's been feeling a peculiar, uncertain feeling about the sidewalk near his house, like someone had just been there, but quietly turned to shadow before he could stop them. Montag turns the corner and sees a girl, a young girl with a slender milk-white face, a white dress, and a strange expression of curiosity. His mouth moves to say hello, and her eyes shine as if he is saying something quite wonderful.
Of course. You're our new neighbor, aren't you?
And you must be the fireman.
How oddly you say that.
I've known it with my eyes shut.
What? Smell of kerosene? My wife always complains. You never wash it off completely.
No, you don't.
Kerosene is nothing but perfume to me.
Clarice turns to face the sidewalk, going back towards their separate homes.
Do you mind if I walk back with you? I'm Clarice McClellan.
Clarice, Guy Montag, come along. What are you doing out so late, wandering about? How old are you?
The wind is blowing around their faces, but it isn't cold at all. It's refreshing and lovely. And Montag thinks he smells the faintest hint of fresh apricots and strawberries in the air. But no, it's impossible at this time of year.
Well, I'm 17 and I'm crazy. My uncle says the two always go together. When people ask her age, he said, always say 17 and insane. Isn't this a nice time of night to walk? I like to smell things and look at things and sometimes stay up all night walking and watch the sunrise. You know, I'm not afraid of you at all. So many people are. Afraid of firemen, I mean. But you're just a man, after all. Do you mind if I ask how long you've worked at being a fireman?
Since I was 10 years ago.
Do you ever read any of the books you burn?
That's against the law.
Is it true that long ago firemen put out fires instead of going to start them?
No, houses have always been fireproof. Take my word for it.
Strange. I heard a long time ago that houses used to burn by accident, and they needed firemen to stop the flames. Why are you laughing?
I don't know. Why?
You laugh when I haven't been funny, and you answer right off. You never stop to think about what I've asked you.
You are an odd one. Haven't you any respect?
I don't mean to be insulting. It's just that I love to watch people too much, I guess.
Well, doesn't this uniform mean anything to you? Don't I mean anything to you?
Yes. But I do know something you don't. There's dew on the grass in the morning, and if you look, there's a man on the moon.
I haven't looked in a long time.
They walk the rest of the way in a long silence. Hers thoughtful, his accusing, painful.
Good night. Oh, and are you happy?
Am I what?
But she's gone, running in the moonlight, like she was just a silly, fanciful dream. There are no more apricots, no more strawberries.
Happy. Of all the nonsense.
Montag does nothing for the next days, weeks, months, does nothing like he walked with Clarice. He just lets it happen. It's all disconnected, all unimportant. He doesn't care and he doesn't need to.
Good evening. Good evening, Alexis. I was sure.
What's on this afternoon, dear?
Well, a play comes on the wall-to-wall script in 10 minutes. They mailed me my part this morning. I sent in some box tops. They write the script with one part missing. It's a new idea. The homemaker, that's me, is the missing part. When it comes time for the missing lines, they all look at me out of the three walls and I say the lines. Here, for instance, the man says, "What do you think of this whole idea, Helen?" And he looks at me, sitting here center stage, see? And I say, "I think that's fine." And then they go on with the play until he says, "Do you agree with that, Helen?" And I say, "I sure do. Isn't that fun, Guy? It's sure fun."
What's the play about?
I just told you. There are these people named Bob and Ruth and Helen.
Oh.
In the firehouse, a mechanical hound haunts Montag, as it always does. It's there to hunt the ones who run. It's on his side, but...
No, boy. No.
Montag!
It doesn't like me.
It doesn't like or dislike, it just functions. It's a fine bit of craftsmanship, A good rifle that can fetch its own target and guarantees a bullseye every time.
That's why I wouldn't want to be the next victim.
Why? You got a guilty conscience about something?
But every day, Clarice and Montague walk wherever they're going. And it's the only thing that matters. One day at the subway,
Why is it that I feel I've known you so many years?
Because I like you and I don't want anything from you. And because we know each other.
You make me feel very old and very much like a father.
Now you explain why you haven't any daughters like me if you like children so much.
I don't know.
You're joking.
I mean, well, my wife, she never really wanted any children at all.
I'm sorry. I really thought you were having fun at my expense. I'm a fool.
No, it was a good question. It's been a long time since someone cared to ask. A good question.
it seems like she'll be here forever. Seems like it's always just them walking together.
Clarice, Clarice.
And then she's gone, just gone. One day she doesn't come at all. He boards the train alone.
You play, Montague.
I've been thinking about the fire last week, about the man whose library we fixed. What happened to him?
They took him screaming off to the asylum.
He wasn't insane.
Any man's insane who thinks he can fool the government and us.
I've tried to imagine how it would feel. I mean, to have firemen burn our houses and our books.
We haven't any books.
But if we did have some.
You got some? Montague, you forgot your helmet. Here we are.
Play the man, Master Ridley. We shall this day light such a candle by God's grace in England as I trust shall never be put out.
Enough of that. Where are they?
You know where they are, or you wouldn't be here.
Ah, yes. Have reason to suspect at it. 11 North Elm City. All right, man, let's get 'em.
Time has fallen asleep in the afternoon sunshine.
Montague, don't stand there, idiot.
You can't ever have my books.
You know the law. Snap out of it. The people in those books never lived. Now, come on.
Never!
The whole house is going up.
You're not leaving her here.
She won't come.
Force her then.
We're due back at the house.
You can come with me.
No. Thank you anyway.
Please.
Go on!
Here, come on.
I want to stay here.
We burnt an old woman with her books. We burnt 1,000 books. We burnt a woman.
Well?
Mildred, how would it be if maybe I quit my job a while?
You want to give up everything? After all these years of working? Because one night, some woman in her books.
You should have seen her, Millie.
She's nothing to me. She shouldn't have had books. It was her responsibility. She should have thought of that. I hate her. She's got you going, and next thing you know, we'll be out. No house, no job, no nothing.
You weren't there. You didn't see. There must be something in books. Something we can't imagine. To make a woman stay in a burning house. There must be something there. You don't stay for nothing.
This is the day you go on the early shift. You should have gone 2 hours ago. I just noticed.
It's not just the woman that died. Last night I thought about all the kerosene I've used in the past 10 years. And I thought about books. And for the first time I realized that a man was behind each one of the books. A man had to think them up. A man had to take a long time to put them down on paper. And I had never even thought that thought before. It takes some man a lifetime maybe to put some of his thoughts down, looking around at the world and life. And then I come along in 2 minutes and boom, it's all over.
Let me alone. I didn't do anything.
Let you alone? That's all very well, but how can I leave myself alone? We need not to be let alone. We need to be really bothered once in a while. How long is it since we were really bothered? About something important. About something real.
Well, now you've done it. Out front of the house. Look who's here. There's a Phoenix car just drove up and a man in a black shirt with an orange snake stitched on his arm coming up the front walk.
Captain Beatty?
Captain Beatty.
Go let him in, will you? Tell him I'm sick.
Just thought I'd come by and see how the sick man is. Every fireman sooner or later hits this. They only need understanding, need to know how the wheels run, need to know the history of our profession. They don't feed it to rookies like they used to. Damn shame. I'll let you in on it. This all started around a thing called the Civil War. Motion pictures in the early 20th century, radio, television, things began to have mass, to become simpler. Once, books appealed to a few people here, there, everywhere. They could afford to be different. The world was roomy. But then the world expanded, blew up. Double, triple, quadruple population. Everything leveled down to a sort of paste-pudding norm. Books cut shorter. Condensations, digests, tabloids. Everything boils down to the gag, the snap ending. Out of the nursery into college and back into the nursery. There's your intellectual pattern for the past 5 centuries or so. Now let's take up the minorities in our civilization, shall we? Bigger the population, the more minorities. Bigger your market, the less you handle controversy. Remember that. Colored people don't like Little Black Sambo? Burn it. White people don't feel good about Uncle Tom's Cabin? Burn it. Someone's written a book on tobacco and lung cancer. Cigarette people are weeping. Burn the book. Serenity, Montag. Peace, Montag. Take your fight outside. Better yet, into the incinerator. Burn all. Burn everything. Fire is bright and fire is clean.
There was a girl next door. She's gone now. I think dead. I can't even remember her face, but she was different. How did she happen?
Here or there, there's bound to occur. Clarice McKellen, we've watched her family carefully. Heredity and environment are funny things. You can't rid yourselves of all the odd ducks in just a few years. The home environment can undo a lot of what you try to do at school. The girl was a time bomb. She didn't want to know how a thing was done, but why. That can be embarrassing. You ask why to a lot of things and you end up very unhappy indeed if you keep at it. The poor girl's better off dead.
Yes, dead.
I must be going. Lecture's over. The important thing for you to remember, Montag, is that we're the Happiness Boys, the Dixie Duo, you and I and the others. We have our fingers in the dike. Hold steady. Don't let the torrent of melancholy and drear philosophy drown our world. And one last thing. At least once in his career, every fireman gets an itch. What do the books say, he wonders. Well, Montag, I've had to read a few in my time to know what I was about, and the books, they say nothing. Nothing that you can teach or believe. They're about pretend people, figments of imagination if they're fiction. And if they're non-fiction, it's worse. One professor calling another an idiot, one philosopher shoving a belief down another's throat. All of them running around, putting out the stars and extinguishing the sun. You come away lost.
Well, then, what if a fireman accidentally, really not intending anything, takes a book home with him?
Natural error. Curiosity alone. We don't get over-anxious or mad. We let the fireman keep the book for 24 hours. If he hasn't burned it by then, we simply come and burn it for him.
Of course.
Well, Montag, will I see you tonight?
I don't know. I'll be in later, maybe.
We'd certainly miss you if you didn't show. So, get well and keep well, all right?
All right. Millie, I feel it's only fair that I tell you something now. I should have told you before, but I wasn't even admitting it to myself. I have something I want you to see. Something I've put away and hid during the past year now. And again, once in a while. I didn't know why, but I did it, and I never told you.
Books?
No, Millie, no! Wait, stop it, will you? You don't know, stop it!
Montag!
Millie, listen, we can't do anything. We can't burn these. I want to look at them, at least look at them once. Then if like what the captain says is true, we'll burn them together. Believe me, we'll burn them together, and I've never asked for much from you in all these years, but I ask it now. I plead for it. We've got to start somewhere here, figuring out why we're in such a mess. You and your family, me and my work. If you love me at all, you'll put up with this 48 hours. That's all. I ask, and then it'll be over. If there's something here, just one little thing out of the whole mess of things, maybe we can pass it on to someone else.
Mrs. Montag, someone here, Mrs. Montag, someone here.
We begin by beginning, I guess. Gulliver's travels into several remote nations of the world. My father had a small estate in Nottinghamshire. I was the third of 5 sons. He sent me to